There are two kinds of grand juries in each county, a criminal grand jury and a civil grand jury. Criminal grand juries are convened from time to time when the district attorney has a case and wants to determine whether there's enough evidence to go to trial. And those grand juries are convened and then disbanded after they hear the evidence and make a decision about whether to issue an indictment. The kind of grand jury I want to talk about this morning is a standing or civil grand jury. And so in every county in California, there's a standing grand jury that's made up of civic-minded individuals who serve for an entire year. So it's a fiscal year. And these folks are basically watchdogs of local government. And so it's a very interesting, very democratic body of people. So I swear in a group of 19 folks at the beginning of the fiscal year. And then for that year, they are tasked with looking into local government agencies, county, city, community service districts to make sure that they're running the way that they should be running. And so, no one tells them what to do. No one is directing them to look into certain problems. They sort of follow their nose and citizen complaints and that kind of thing. So it's basically to ensure that local government is performing efficiently, impartially, and honestly for the benefit of the community. What are the powers of the grand jury? So these 19 people who are sworn in, they have the power to issue subpoenas for documents, so they can make government agencies give them information. They can compel interviews, and then they write reports about what they find. I like to think of them as a flashlight more than a stick. So the grand jury, if they find things that are wrong or working inefficiently, they don't have the power to make an agency change or to enforce anything, but because of their reports, they can actually require the agencies to respond to them, respond to their questions, and then oftentimes there will be stories in the newspapers, et cetera, that draw public attention to certain problems in the community that end up getting fixed as a result of the publicity. If you want to see some examples of the types of reports that have been written by the current grand jury, you can go to the SLO Court's website and search for grand jury. They look into everything from how our local detention facilities running, how our mental health services being delivered to the community. They look into how cemeteries are being run, if there are districts that run the cemeteries. There was a recent investigation into alleged mismanagement in the Paso Robles School District, issues with the way state water allocation was working and how taxes were being accounted for and so forth. So they really just follow where their nose goes and then write reports that are published. What are the basics? 19 people are selected. They serve for the fiscal year. Some folks can choose to serve for a second term. They're sworn in at the end of June. So we've just sworn in our 2022-23 grand jury. The pay is $15 a meeting plus mileage. Okay, so this is a labor of love. The time commitment, 20 hours a week. So that's not the selling point for this. It's really people who are civic minded and want to give back to their community. Usually the grand jurors meet every Tuesday and Wednesday, and they have a special grand jury house, and there's an oath of confidentiality. So the material that's revealed to the grand jury, they keep secret, and then they prepare their reports. So we have people from all different walks of life, interesting people. We're looking for folks who don't have just one issue that they want to harp on, but people who are broadly curious and open-minded. But skeptical of government and independent, right? We want people who are going to ask hard questions. And of course, people who can afford to work this much without significant pay. So often we end up having folks who are retired and can afford to give that much time. I would say that we're behind in terms of inclusivity in this county. So traditionally, our grand juries have not been very diverse in terms of race or ethnicity. We've done some outreach, but to a limited effect. So if you have ideas about how to increase the diversity, I'd love to hear them. We want to have a real cross-section of the community serving on the grand jurors, on the grand jury, because they really can be agents for change in the community. And if you're interested, or if you know of anybody who's interested in serving, Nikki Rodriguez is our jury commissioner, and we'd love to have folks who are interested in giving back to their community in that way. Thank you very much.